It's something you'd never want to do unless you had expert brakemen on the bottom that have to know what you're trying to do. You've got to work as a team. And if you don't work as a team, either you get killed or they get killed because you might hit them at about 30, 40 mile an hour.
And that was precisely what very nearly happened. The rope became wet, and all of a sudden, friction vanished. Give or take a few close shaves, the most hazardous stunt of the sequence was the tandem slide. The takeoff point was 175 feet up. First, the nylon slide rope had to be rigged from the top of the cliff, across the gap, to the rocks on the other side. Once secured, it had to be tensed as much as possible to prevent stretching under the combined weight of the two men. As the weather worsened, the preparations became almost as difficult as the stunt itself. Finally, the rope was ready.
Well, that is the whole connection to the slide rope. All you do is you just come in, your spinner's undone, and you just clip into the main rope. As soon as you've clipped in, grab a hold of both of the toggles, and it's important only to have a finger grip like this. Because if you've got your hand, say if you put your hand through like that, it'd be too hard to get your hand out. You get caught. So it's a light finger grip like this, so you can just release very quickly. And in this particular one that we're going to do, it's going to be a tandem. I don't believe it's ever been tried. I don't know whether it'll ever be tried again after today either. But all it's going to be is exactly the same thing, but Bob's going to be across my shoulder and draped over there, and it's the same judgment again. You just let go. And this time it's just a case of both of us falling in the right place.
The last time Grant Page did a solo slide, things did not go according to plan.
Came in with a side twist, much like a parachuting roll, and they estimated about 30, 40 miles an hour, and about 40 feet from the bottom when the rope broke. And unfortunately, the landing wasn't like here on water; it was on jagged rock. It was a bit uncomfortable. Got a dislocated shoulder out of it, that's left the clavicle standing up, and a ruptured spleen and a few breaks, the odd bone and things like that. But I went up, and apparently from what I've been told, I went about 15, 20 feet in the air. And where all the damage was when I came down for the second bounce. I landed on my head, and that was rather uncomfortable too. But that's where most of the damage was done, and the whole scalp was opened up and sort of laying down here, and I think they put 120 odd stitches in the head.
On this occasion, once they hit the water, their problems are not over. There is a 10-foot shelf under that ledge and a strong undertow. Get sucked under that and you don't come out alive. Bob Woodham has had a taste of what it feels like.
Yeah, I got stuck under the water in a show. I had an aqualung in it, in the car, which had to be driven off a cliff, and I had to sink to the bottom of the river in the car. And unfortunately it rolled on the bottom of the river bank down to about 35 feet, completely crushed the car. I was trapped in there. It's a really nasty feeling. Drowning is not a good way to die. Don't let anyone tell you it is. It's really nasty.
So they have to gauge the swell of the waves and time their moves precisely. Despite an ugly moment when they hit an overhanging ledge, the slide went off beautifully. car. Very rarely does a real crash take place. The effect is generally achieved by a rapid succession of clever camera angles. But Bob Woodham feels seeing is believing. When he smashes a bike, it doesn't come back for more. To hit a car at 30 miles an hour a couple of times a year and get away with it requires expert timing, sheer nerve, and a touch of insanity. Because of the speed of Bob's takeoff, an extra long rig is assembled. The desired point of impact is marked so Bob can aim at it. A special kickoff rod is fixed to the bike so that his legs can hopefully clear the handlebars. He had come out of 2 bike crashes unscathed earlier this year, but this time he didn't quite judge it right. You saw the crash at normal speed, 25 frames, running through the camera gate each second. Look at it again through a different camera, shooting at 400 frames per second. He just catches his shins as he goes over. Because of the speed involved, crashes are always unpredictable, and Bob needed all his skills when he worked on a recent commercial.
Peter Bernello trail bikes are the best you can get, so look after them, please. Peter Bernello, the trail bike king, Pacific Highway Garden.
Top American stuntman Evel Knievel specializes in jumping his bike over an ever-increasing number of cars. Bob Woodham has a preference for jumping off cliffs. Whatever your bag is, all bike stunts require an inspired blend of balance and timing. To do a continuous wheel stand, for instance, you bring the bike to a point of balance in 2nd or 3rd gear. Accelerate. At the same time, throw your weight onto the back seat and the wheel will rise. Then practice for a couple of years. To keep the wheel up for more than a few seconds is hard, and the faster you go, the harder it gets. Before the final leap off the cliff, a shorter jump was required for a shot of the bike flying over the camera. An easy one compared to the cliff jump itself. For this, Bob only has to take off from a 40-foot cliff, 30 miles an hour, fly 70 feet through the air, and land barely in 3 feet of water. First, the water was thoroughly searched for rocks and hidden debris. Then Bob decided on a trial run up a small ramp to get the feel of it. As you can see, he did not come off the bike in time. Once again, he cracked the shins against the handlebars. But he had found out what he wanted to know. To the outside world, stunt work must seem a strange profession at the best of times. Doubly strange if the stuntman has a heart condition.